Hi y'all. Hey, I'm putting my shades on. But anyways, here we go. What a survival garden looks like in the suburbs. Okay, I'm going to cover just the basics, the mechanics of it. I'm not going to go into the detail of the crops that are actually grown in there, and I'm just going to cover mine. Yours might be different. It all depends on your landscape, what your land looks like. Okay, now notice I've got another area right over there that could be turned into a garden area right there. See that open field? Okay. And I've got my area, my garden that I'm working right here, right now. And I'm learning how to work it. There's a lot going on, but I'm just covering the mechanics of what it looks like. You want your rows, you want a perimeter path to be able to walk all the way around the perimeter of your garden area. Okay? And you want your rows cut. See how these rows are turning? They're cut based on the landscape, the slope of the terrain. You want your garden to follow the terrain, your rows. Now, if you look right here, you want to be able to get into it, so you need a gate. And you want to be able to drive into it. You want to be able to bring a truck or a tractor in here. That's what the reason is for this wide area right here, to be able to open an 8-foot gate, or I think this is a 10-foot gate, I'm not sure. To be able to bring something in here, to be able to bring in material and take material out. Let me show you the most important thing that you need. This is my 4th year doing this, okay? So it's hard to explain. The whole thing's trial and error. This is designed to work in drought, now also extreme rains. But this is a pond. You want to create your garden to where you have an abundance of water. And this is a 24,000 gallon tank, or a pond. So water is the most critical factor. If you don't have water, it's going to be real hard to have a survival garden without water. And it can be easily duplicated. But let me go ahead and cover your fence layout. You got to have a small netting of fence because you want to keep the small animals out. What I need to do here is I also need to lay down another barrier on the bottom. This is not a good fence to have, but you want the small squares right here, and I need to put chicken wire down here, out here, to keep the little animals from coming in. And you also want to have the whole perimeter electrified to keep bigger animals from coming in. Now this is far enough away, I think, to where it'll keep the deer out also. But you want to have barbed wire on here along with your standoffs, because if your electric fails, you'll still have something to keep the cows out. They'll feel that poke, that shock, and they'll come out of there. Okay, so yeah, you want your perimeter. You want to be able to walk around the whole thing, and you got to follow the sun. The sun comes up on the east, which is that way, and it goes all the way around, and it sets over here where the pond's at. Okay, so you have to think about placement of your trees. Now, that corner right there is a good spot to put a tree, some kind of fruit tree. Okay, so you have your line laid out here to where you can bring a tractor in here or anything. And because this is going to be a drive path, I could put a couple little peach trees in here. And then you set your rows up on contour, and right here the land's kind of flat, so I could have pretty much flat rows. And oh, dang, I forgot. There's a water pump over there. You want to be able to bring your water pump uphill. See that pump right there? You want to be able to take that pump. See, there's a water pump right there with a green line. You want to be able to bring that water up through here. Eventually, I'm going to bury the line right here, but you want to be able to bring that water in, because you've got to have water. If you don't have pretty much unlimited water, it's going to be very hard. And I've got the trees planted here. I was thinking of putting another one here, but I don't want to take away from the morning sun when it shines right here. So I've got 2 little water tanks right here that's fed by a garden hose from the main tank up there that'll be fed by this green hose right here. And of course, you know, you need some way to grab that water, right? So anyways, you take your green hose and you're going up the center, and it's going to be buried. I haven't buried it yet. And it'll feed this tank. And I went ahead and drained out the tank. Okay. Now, so there's a 600-gallon tank. I'm going to clean it out, so that's why I drained it. But you want to have a compost pit. This right here is 6 by 30 feet. And you can see how, you know, you just grab all the material that's laying around and you just throw it in here. You throw all your gardening scraps in here too. And see how that water, like, is changing color, like it's a darker color right there? That's good water to use for fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. Okay, so remember, my son comes up from over there to the east in the morning. So you want a trellis on the east side right here to get the morning sun, and then this trellis over here will get the afternoon sun. Now my situation here with my soil is a little different. You know, this is a darker clay soil, and this is more sandy. So there's a variety of soil conditions in here. So right here, the rows are on contour, but over here, they started leveling off. So I could cut these pretty much in a straight line. And then of course you want to be able to walk right down the middle of the whole thing. So you have a perimeter. You have a water tank on the bottom to where you don't have to walk all the way up there. And let me show you these rows right here. You want to cut your rows on contour. Notice how I can't even walk in there because it's so muddy. And you want them on contour. And that's what it looks like. I got my T-post set every 7 feet, and I've got the electrified barbed wire set at about 8 feet T-posts. And you want to be able to walk right down the middle of it, and you got to think about when the water drains, like the runoff, where it's going to run down here, and this whole area down here is always moist and wet, because this is where most of your water goes, right down in here. I don't think we planted anything here, but so there it is. These are light green, and it means something with the plants, but this is not about what the plants look like. So you want all the water that comes into this garden to stay in here. All the water when it rains, you want it coming in, and you want to set your garden up to where none of it's leaving. And I'm still gonna do some work back here, but I gotta set this up high so that none of this water will leave this garden. And I can maybe even put little mounds in the middle in there to keep it from leaving. So that's what a garden looks like. So you want to have your basic infrastructure set up, and you want to map it. You got to put it on a map, and that's for another video. But you want a map of your garden, and you want a lot of pages, because the garden could last you 20 years or 30 years. So every year you learn something, you experiment in it, and you learn what grows and what doesn't. And I'm going to talk about that in another video.